Go for it.
Hello, everyone watching on YouTube or Rumble or listening on Spotify podcasts. I'm Brandon Paradoski. I'm here with Sheldon Munroe, and we have the opportunity of speaking with Dr. David Speicher today. David has a PhD in virology. He holds an assistant professorship at Redeemer University and also has a background in using salivary tests to diagnose infectious diseases. So we brought David on today to talk a little bit about Redeemer University, how their COVID policies differed from the other universities across Canada. We want to get into his experience working a COVID testing facility. And then we want to finish up talking a little bit about David's faith and how this has played into him working at Redeemer University. So thanks, David, for taking the time and speaking with us today.
Well, it's a joy to be here.
Wonderful. Professor, so you mind telling us a little bit about your background? Brandon covered it briefly there, but what particularly led you to becoming a professor of biology and health sciences at Redeemer?
So I came here in my undergrad to redeem, and I was keen on med school to help people. It's science. It's cool, and that I could help sick and injured people. My the heart was for the third world of Africa, and mainly the whole HIV thing, where thousands were dying of this virus, and then I discovered Ebola, and a nice, cool, non-living thing which killed thousands of people fast. Ebola is devastating to Africa. It's very hard to control, and you basically, if a village is sick, you seal things off, going in suits and give the help and hope that your self don't get sick, and then in time it'll burn its self out, and so that's kind of when I found viruses, learned to love them, and say this is my niche, to kind of care for those in need. I then went and did a master's in clinical micro in Australia, and a master's research project on corona virus. Says the second lab to find virus, and we worked to on HKU one and the main four coronas, and then I did a PhD in human herpes virus 8 in AIDS patients in India, Africa, and the Australia. I learned about viral diagnostics mainly in saliva. And then I came back home to Canada in 2014, where I worked on a range of things: C. diff, HP, PPV, STIs, and latest COVID. So
Very cool.
A true virologist who loves viruses, eh? I don't think
oh
many
yeah,
say they love viruses after the past 2 years. And you obviously have a breadth of experience, like you said, working on HIV, STIs, and now being hurled into COVID and a
COVID.
coronavirus. So let's talk a little bit about Redeemer University. I know you recently got an assistant professorship there.
Yep.
And I'm reading through their COVID policy, and they took a different approach at some point.
Oh
So
yes, for sure.
in the height of the pandemic, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, epidemic, in January 2022, most universities had heavy, strong vaccine mandates without exceptions, even removing students from online classes in the worst examples. But Redeemer University gave students the options to test, which seems pretty reasonable. If you don't have the virus, nothing doesn't seem no problem. You test, you're negative, you're fine. So maybe talk about a little bit, how did Redeemer come to have this policy, and just talk about how it actually worked. Did it work, and how this was so different than the other universities across Canada?
So I've been here since August, and when I was hired on the one thing I loved was it's COVID approach. We didn't force the vaccine on people. If you want to um take it, that is your choice. It is there. It's you are welcome to. If you don't, then that's also your choice. And so I know a lot felt the led to, not for here, but if they took a course elsewhere, that they basically had to take it, and it's something which I think a lot of students regret doing. We were the last ones to put a date and place to get vaxxed or test and well, one of the first ones to drop it. See, we are all entitled to a choice. It is our own body, our own choice, and God gave gave us a will to choose, right? You can choose to have faith. You choose not to. You can choose to get a vaccine or not, and it's basically up to your choice. And to we had a mask mandate here early in the pandemic and kept following public health guidelines, but when it came came down to it, people you had the right to choose.
Mhm. Professor, you said some students may regret having actually gotten the vaccine. Is that maybe simply due to having a lack of actual choice, do you think would have led people to regret that?
I think that some of them to play sports they had to. I know some had to take a course that's at another institution to graduate to make up enough courses as it is and because it's a U.S. based institution that they were forced to take it to travel and then enroll there. And now that that they've seen that it's not effective against transmission or the adverse effects of it, that they regret shoving them self in risk like this. And two, I think that a lot of those outside doing our general community for work that had to take this and so that they too feel some sort of regret being forced into it. So yeah, we all have our own choice, and none of us should ever be discriminated against for a lifestyle choice, how we talk, our skin and stuff. So we are all made in God's image, and we all should have that choice.
Well said.
Yeah, so I think there's a spectrum of students, like you said, some who definitely wanted to get the vaccine, some who definitely didn't, and then sort of the middle group in between that were maybe didn't want to get it, but vaccine mandates at these universities really just pulled everyone into getting the vaccine in itself because they're put in this difficult position of either finishing their schooling, which maybe they already were 2, 3 years into, or doing
Exactly.
right. They didn't know when the university would drop these vaccine mandates and be able to come back. So it was a very difficult position for a lot of students, and they were coerced maybe by friends or family putting pressure on them, or even being international students and potentially being sent back home because of that. So definitely a very difficult decision being put into. But I'm glad to hear that Redeemer at least gave the option to test instead of having to take the vaccine. So that at least gave some options to students. And I know other universities provide
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I think we said we had to test ourselves twice a week, and like, if you are healthy, I'm perfectly fine fine to test. It's nice and simple. You just shove things up your nose, a rapid test, done. I know if I'm, yeah, if I'm sick, and to the main key thing is that 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 it if you are sick, stay at home and work from home. The best thing, if it's flu, COVID, rhino, colds, if you are sick, stay home, rest up, and try and work from the home. There's a a good remote um them here. They spent millions and really decked out the classrooms to allow a good hybrid thing. You could be online if you're sick, or in person too. So yeah.
Having so many other schools go online, I mean, personally for myself, I had wished my university was able to approach a more hybrid mode, or at least provide more options than simply taking the vaccine. Was there communication from your school, or from yourself to other schools, kind of giving a bit of a warning that there could be negative outcomes with their such strict policies?
I have no idea. I've been here since August, so yeah.
So I think that's a good point to jump into your experience doing the COVID testing facility. Just like from what I gathered, I saw some people sticking these long wires sort of all the way up their nose, crazy
Yeah.
high, poking membranes. And then like we had all these cases, and like, what do you even do with the cases? Like no one's really dying. There's just all these cases. So does it even make sense to be doing all this testing? So maybe just
Yeah.
give us your experience on running a COVID testing facility.
So I started uh, um work in the early pandemic at Mac. Um, and seeing the virus. I left there in October the first year, and then I was in charge of a COVID testing lab. And what I learned in this pandemic is that with so many people pushing to test things, we've had a lot of new labs pop up to test things for flying. To get on a plane, you have a negative test, and so some of these labs were legal, and some of them weren't, and some of them weren't doing good lab practice, weren't running things with a license. Some were, and it's basically all about doing thousands of tests a week, trying to make as much cash as they can get, because to board a plane, some labs were charging 110 to 180 bucks per test. And so if you're doing 5 or 10,000 tests a week, that's a good change. So yeah, I've seen a lot of people push things to try and take advantage of the system. Now, albeit our labs were full, they were running 24/7. They did not have the testing capacity in place early in the pandemic. There's been some labs expand and spend millions to expand testing, and now that COVID is basically over. We have labs with equipment which is just sitting there doing nothing. So yeah, so it's tough. The one biggest thing with the whole testing algorithm, I've seen misinformation on both sides of the narrative. I've seen those who say PCR testing sucks. It's very sensitive. There's high rates of false positives. I've worked on PCR since 2005. It's a very good super sensitive test if it's used right. Most assays the limit of detection in a cycle 35, which is about 200 or 300 viral copies roughly, and so every lab has to work out and validate the cutoff between a positive test and a negative test, and call it there. Now, the PCR assay detects SARS-CoV-2. It the RNA for it, and all it asks is this RNA sequence in my sample? Okay, and that's all. It could be a viable virus. It could be an old dead non-viable virus. You don't know unless you culture it. All that ask is this RNA sequence in my sample? Now, what a lot of our public health labs have basically done is said, if you are sick or are infected with this virus, therefore you have COVID, right? Infection doesn't always equal disease. If you are not sick and have symptoms, you do not have disease. You only have the virus itself. It could be a somatic infection with a low viral load, and therefore you are infected, but not infectious. Right. Until symptoms develop, most times you aren't infectious until the viral load is high enough to make someone sick with the symptoms, and therefore, if you are sick with the symptoms, you should stay home. Right?
You make a good point.
And so it's basically, it's common sense, basic infection control. If you're sick, stay home.
Pretty simple, yeah. If you're sick, stay home. But I know off the beginning, they're sort of just taking these positive results, and that's what sort of started the whole scare and led into the vaccine.
Right.
Because there were so many cases, everyone was freaked out. But like you said, it was just detecting whether this RNA is present or not. And most people might not even had symptoms at that time, just had this positive result of RNA. We're calling it a case. The cases look really high. And then that sort of facilitated the panic or the craziness.
Right.
And then you mentioned that what you're actually supposed to do after that, you get this positive RNA result, is culture the virus. So actually verify that it's the virus there, not something, any other sort of RNA present, and should, at least in my mind, go. So was that happening? Were they culturing the virus after, or was it more so just here's positive RNA results from the PCR? That's the case.
I think the whole debate about was the virus actually cultured is really up in the air. Some labs claim that they have. There's been freedom of information reports request lodged with those labs, and the response was that they don't have any records of it. So it's very up in the air. We know a virus is there. We know it's whole genome. It's been sequenced thousands of times. I don't think that we need to culture things at this point in time. My whole point was what was a PCR test cannot tell if the virus is a whole infectious virion, or if it is pieces says of it, and is it decayed and non-viable. To see, unless there is a whole intact virus, it is not viable. And so your whole viral load peaks within the first 5 days. It shows up and infects, causes symptoms, because you got a inflammatory response to a infection about day 7 or 8. You're a viral load, and basically it peaks, it goes down, and then post your peak, someone could remain PCR positive for up to 3 months at very low viral loads, around cycle 32 to 35, and that is because your body it keeps shedding virus out of the so it's there, it's caused damage, and it's being shed out, and so all of those follow-up tests each week, each couple of days, until someone one is cleared and no longer PCR positive, each one of those positive results is is all looked at as a single COVID case. And it's like, well, it's the same person over time as a viral load. But all we report is a positive case, not CT values, not loads. And so, is it a case? Well, there's a case on day 1, day 3, and day 5. Except it's all the same person. It's all one case. Make sense?
So let me get that clear. So if say I was sick for a week and I tested 5 times, I now public health would call that 5 cases, and those would be reported.
5 cases.
So
yep.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah. And it in actual fact, it's 1 case.
Yeah. I want to ask too, just with having this intense method of testing, leading into many of the decisions to have such a kind of, one could say, draconian measures as having students take all online classes. As a professor, what impact do you think that had on young people, on young students who had to be locked down for nearly 2 years?
Yeah, it really, I think, hurt our students. Most of our science courses are hand-on lab courses, and you basically show up in the lab and you're doing things and learning through experimentation. So my micro course, you show up, you play the bacteria, you learn the techniques of spread plating and streak plating, and then look at things the next day. Well, if it's all on the line, you've got no hands-on learning, and yes, so you can't learn, you can't look at things and experiment and try out things. It's all very much a passive learning, lectures, books, reading, and no hands-on experience.
Yeah, even besides just the learning aspect, there was also the social aspect, right? Students couldn't come
exactly
to each other, converse, have a good time. Even some students like going to the gym, so like a physical aspect. That's all playing into students' mental well-being as well.
Oh yeah, it's so tough if our student mental health issues have gone sky high because they're on their own, they're isolated, they can't cope, things look bad. Yeah. So
yeah, even just from personal experience, our group has had so many students just reach out to us, thanking us and just saying how alone they felt over the last couple of years. So it's definitely been a hard time for students and obviously for professors too, because they like that interaction with students and that obviously in-person teaching aspect. But on that note, you mentioned a couple times your faith in God, and you also work at Redeemer University. For those who don't know, is a Christian university in Ontario, Canada. So maybe just tell us a bit about that and how that's maybe strengthened you over the pandemic and going through hard times.
Well, being in this pan, pan, pandemic that has been tough. I've lost 3 jobs for my stance on things. What is going on? My last job that I lost on my day off. Uh, I took my son, who was 8, to watch the convoy pass through the today. Kids, big trucks, flags. It's a nice educational time of what it means to stand up for our freedom, our rights, and our nation. And I went to work the next day and I was fired. I'm like, because I supported the convoy. And so when you lose a job for a choice to be vaxxed or not vaxxed, or take a kid to watch a convoy, it's tough. It's like I'm out of a job. I've got a wife and kid to care for, and rent to pay, and food to buy. And has it been tough? Sure. A lot of those things play with your mental mind, and what I've learned is that if you stand up for what is right, sometimes it's tough, sometimes it's hard. Some people don't like it. You might lose your job, but God always provides for those who trust in Him. He loves us all. He cares for us, and so if you keep God first, and love those that are around you, God will keep you safe. He'll always yeah give you what you need. It's been tight. There's been some times where we're like, is our rent coming? But it's always been through at the right time, and it's always worked out. I've been here since August. I did my undergrad here, and it's really cool to look at science and seeing your faith and science not as two separate things, but seeing science through a Christian worldview, um, God made all things. Made viruses and microbes and us, and it's a really cool world of things which we can't see, and so to just look at things as God's creation and it has been fun. So one of my term papers I made them right. Our pathogens God's God's creation for a purpose, or is it because of the fall? And so to wrestle with that, you need to know what are pathogens, what are viruses and microbes and phages and prions, and then look at the genesis account and see that God made all things good. And so how does our faith and our science and our theology kind of mesh? And so it's been really cool seeing them wrestle with things, encourage each other, have these debates and the discussions about stuff. So and to just see their love to say the microbes are killing lots of people, and God cares for them too, and so science to learn the things and make things which help people's the health is good. So
yeah, so well said, Professor. Yeah, and such an important lesson to have departed on us. I think it's going to be really beneficial for our viewers to have heard that and love and all those things that are going to help hopefully remove us from such a divisive society and into one of loving and caring. Really quite amazing. Brandon, do you have any follow-up questions here?
No question. Maybe just a comment. Maybe it was man-made and not God's doing coming out of the lab there in Wuhan. So I'll just leave it with that.
Yeah. We've talked about that that and the whole gain of function work and and that there are good things scientists can do. Gain of function I think is completely wrong. It should never be allowed to be done. And to make something to cause the harm, it is not what we as scientists should be doing. So yeah, there is evil out there. We are we are in a sinful, fallen world, and so there's all sorts of things which aren't right, but we can just be worried and concerned about our own work and our own calling. To wrap up our current mandates here, we don't have one. I was sick last week with the flu. There's a big flu wave out there. I had to teach, and so I showed up, and I wore a mask. I don't like masks, except I wore it to keep those around me safe. I hope. And again, that was my own choice, and so we are we are all entitled to our own choice. Is it the vaccine choice? Is it a masking choice? We're all welcome to our own choice, and to we should not force our own choice onto others. So yes. and love and respect those for their choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Speicher, for coming on today and speaking with us.
You're welcome.
It's so wonderful to get a chance to talk with you and to know you better. And so thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.